I'm sitting here with the legendary Dave Feldman, who is an anchor on Comcast SportsNet. He actually is a local, grew up in Palo Alto, went to Palo Alto High School, and we'll start it off there. How was it like to play basketball in Palo Alto? Not just basketball, but basketball with Coach Jim Harbaugh of the 49ers.
First of all, you called me legendary, so thank you.
I will of course.
Pay you later for that. Playing basketball at Palo was great. It was one of the most enjoyable things I've ever done. I loved it. I played for the legendary coach Clem Weiser, who coached there forever. My junior year was Jim Harbaugh's senior year. We had a great team. We went to the CCS Final Four. We played our final college game that year, high school game that year at Maples Pavilion, Stanford's home court. Sadly, we lost to Reardon in the Final Four, but it was a great team, one of the best teams Pally had had in a long time.
Yeah.
And Jim was a great player. You see how competitive he is right now?
Yeah.
That's how competitive he was then. He was a 6'3" power forward who could shoot.
Yeah, it's like
really
Kevin
good.
Love kind of, but much shorter. Still the power forward
maybe
position.
Maybe high school Kevin Love.
Yeah.
That's not a bad comparison.
Yeah, so junior year and then senior year, you kind of took the team over, team captain.
I was team captain. I wasn't nearly as good a player as Jim.
Yeah.
And our team wasn't nearly as good.
Yeah.
But I was the captain. That is accurate.
Yeah, and so you also played in college, and you actually coached at Stanford. So did you want to go into coaching? Was that something you considered?
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a basketball coach, and I worked for Tom Davis at Stanford. And I wanted to go into coaching, and he left Stanford to go become the head coach at Iowa.
Okay.
And I would have gone with him, but he asked someone else to be his grad assistant.
Oh, really?
A guy who had played for him at Boston College named Rich Strigley. So I went back. I finished Tufts University, came back to Palo Alto, got a job at Palo Alto Co-op, announcing high school games.
Yeah.
Worked for Ted Robinson at KCBS Radio, sent out tapes, and got my first job in Sioux City, Iowa, and started my first career.
Yeah, and so is that how you became interested in sports and interested in broadcasting through those jobs?
Yeah, and also in college at Tufts University, I interned at a TV station, WBZ, the NBC affiliate.
Yeah.
And a guy kind of took me under his wing, and he sent me out to the Boston Garden one day, and I got to interview Larry Bird.
Oh, wow.
And I came back, and they used my question on the air.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, if I could ever make a living interviewing Larry Bird, how cool a job would this be?
Probably the greatest job on earth. Yeah.
So that's what sort of stoked my interest in doing it.
Yeah, and so early on in your career, what are the things that kind of challenged you, and did anyone give you advice that stuck with you for a long time?
Yeah, I got some good advice. I got offered the first job in Sioux City, Iowa, and I grew up in Palo Alto, like you. It's a pretty great place to grow up, right?
It is indeed.
And then it's got everything. It's got Stanford, it's got culture, it's got educated people, and then I got offered a job in Sioux City, Iowa, and I was like, whoa, I've never been to Iowa. Sioux City's in northwest Iowa. It's a tiny town. Do I want to do this? And a guy who I interned for in Boston said, you got to take this, and you'll either be really good and you won't be there very long, you'll be terrible and you'll be fired, you'll decide it's not what you want to do, you'll decide it is something good will come of it. It's like your grad school.
Yeah.
And it was very good advice, and I went there. I was only there 1 year, and I moved up to Monterey, but that was the best piece of advice. Go somewhere where they put you on TV. So I always tell people who want to do what we're doing, what you're doing, Kunal, what I'm doing, don't go and be a producer behind the scenes. Go and be on camera. Regardless of how small it is. Yeah. Go there so you learn how to be on camera.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you said Larry Bird, was he your favorite interview of all time?
No, my favorite interview was actually his arch enemy. Julius Erving was my favorite player growing up. You remember him?
Yeah.
Dr. J?
I know who it was.
Yeah. So
don't remember watching him play, unfortunately.
So he was my favorite player of all time, and when I was in Sioux City, Iowa, he came there, he worked for Spalding, and he did a promo tour, and I got to interview him.
Wow.
And, when you interview pro athletes, you're supposed to be professional, you're not supposed to ask for their autograph or anything, but I was 22 or something. I asked for his picture, and I remember saying, this is so cool. So I was not cool, but it was so cool to interview Dr.
Yeah, I know, that's awesome interview.
So that was great.
Yeah, favorite player of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what's a good piece of advice that you would give to someone trying to pursue the career of being a sports anchor or something to do with sports?
Learn how to write. It's really important to learn how to write, learn how to speak correctly, read a lot. You know, in today's day and age, everyone just watches TV and videos. Read a lot. And because that will help you retain information. And listen. When you do an interview, listen. You're doing a really good job. You're listening to the answers. You know, people come and they have questions and they're like, okay, I'm going to ask them this, this, and this. And then I say, you know, I almost didn't become a sportscaster because I wanted to become a shepherd in Egypt. And you go, okay, what was Larry Bird like? Because you're not even listening to my answer. So the most important thing is to listen when people do an interview. A lot of people don't do that because they're nervous or they just have questions written down. But the best thing you can do as an interviewer is listen.
Sounds good. Yeah, hopefully I'm doing good enough job.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah, and so finally, to wrap it all up, you've won five Emmy Awards, including 3 for the Best Sports Anchor. You've been a sports director, sports anchor, sports reporter. You've coached. What was like your favorite moment ever?
Wow. 2 of them. One was hosting the Final Four at ESPN, sitting on the set at the Riverwalk in San Antonio, Texas.
What year was that?
Probably was 1997 or 8. Dick Vitale, Digger Phelps next to me. I'm the morning host. Chris Fowler did the main stuff. I did the stuff in the morning. Thousands of people behind us chanting Dickie V. It was a huge high. Another one I would say was here at Comcast SportsNet Bay Area. My first year here at 49ers. Go to the Super Bowl. It's my favorite team. My high school friend's the head coach. And we did all our shows from the banks of the Mississippi in New Orleans. Didn't have the outcome we wanted. The Ravens won. But those I would say are 2 of my favorite moments as a broadcaster.
And that's not even including the Julius Erving, the Larry Bird.
Julius Erving and Larry Bird are up there. But I was a little kid, but the Julius Erving thing's up there. But I would put those other 2.
And what about Trilogy of the Giants, all 3? Were you here for all 3 of them?
No, for 2 of 3.
2 of them, yeah.
Yeah, I got here the year they won in 2012. I'm lucky. I got a great job. And it's rare you get to work in our business in your hometown. So I moved away was back east for 16 years. You get to come back and do this in your hometown.
Support the teams you grew up with.
The teams you grew up with.
And then they're good now, too, which is
great.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad. Like, say you were to grow up in some place like Cleveland, who hasn't won in that long.
Washington, D.C. right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
It's great. And I love the people I work with. The guy I do the show with every night, Ahmed Fareed, is one of my best friends. I love my bosses. So it's, my parents are still in Palo Alto. They get to watch me on TV. So it's all worked out pretty well.
It's great. That's great. Legendary Dave Feldman, thank you for your time.
Thanks, Kunal. Nice job.
Thank you.